we looked into how do we honor this person in a nice, impactful way of who he is. And basically this individual here, he started off, when he started coming through into the classroom with me, I wasn't doing all of these things that I'm doing now, which is called the masterminds and so on, the coaching. I wasn't doing that. I was just doing classes and that's it. And he came in and he was running his business and he tested the water. He went back, he came back, we went and came back. And then eventually he came up, and I think it was last year or so, he says, TJ, I just want to learn this thing, man. I am quitting my business. I want to do this full time. And I said, brother, don't quit your business. Continue with your business and continue doing this property until the money can flip around. And basically, he has been at it now, I think, for a solid year or so. And that individual, my friends, we then give him an award, which you can all be happy to confirm with me. After he has told us his story, and that is going to be Andrew Kaplan, and we have given him the award called Creativity. And Andrew, over to you, brother.
Good day, everyone. I'm happy to be awarded an award. It's a great achievement, you know. Thank you means there'll be room for more. You know, when you are applauded, sometimes it encourages you to do more. So thank you, TJ. Thank you, TJ Tribe. Let me not waste time. I'm going to speak about three things. Why do I invest? How do I invest? And the deal that I made in the past. So question number one, why do I invest? I invest in order to have options in life. That's why I invest. Because if you don't have passive income, you don't have options. And the more you have money coming in passively and it's growing, and your structures are growing also, your business is growing passively, you can be able to have more money and be able to spend in whatever you want to spend upon. Because I've realized that money is losing value. So you've got to hedge that money to make sure that since it's losing value, don't keep it. Just replace it with something concrete that will have value to be able to supply you with that money. So I've learned in the past that we've got people's money, which is your Bitcoin. We've got the government's money, which is the money we are using in South Africa, which is fiat. And we have God's kind of money, which is gold. And then I've realized that fiat, it's money by declaration. It's not money by intrinsic value. So it loses power. So you've got to replace it quick with something. So I remember back in the days, I had an accident. And after I had an accident, the paramedics came and they couldn't take me to a private hospital because I didn't have money. So they had to take me to a public hospital, and it was bad because I was not operated for 2 days. And my leg, they were even indicating that it can be cut off because there's no immediate attention. So my family decided to take me out of that hospital. We went somewhere where I managed to get an operation. At least it saved my leg. But you know, things like this, when I think of them, they make me hungry to want to solve the money problem. So in life, you know, if your expenses are 30,000 rands, make yourself to be more valuable than 30,000 rands so that you can cover and have more, so that that problem, it's no longer a problem because you've got more now. So number two, why do I invest? I've learned in the Bible, Proverbs 10, verse 15, that money is a defense. it defends your dignity. People without money, they sometimes lose their dignity because it makes them do some certain things which are not righteous. And you know, you sometimes are cornered in a position where you don't have a choice because you don't have money. So you lose your dignity sometimes, and lack of it is sometimes becomes the root of all wrong things. And it's so sad to be without money. But the rich, they defend themselves. They have money, they know what to do, they have choices about that and things like that. And then number 3, why do I invest? I have read again in the Bible, Genesis 41, verse 25, where Joseph is advising Pharaoh about the dream that he had. And then Joseph is saying, God is showing him that there's gonna be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. So to me, 7 years of plenty, it equals to our working time as we are working before we go to pension. And 7 years of famine, it equals to the time from 60 years upward. So that's where you see a lot of people are degrading, are downgrading. They sell their big houses, go for small houses, sell their cars, go for small cars, because money is no longer coming the way. But the advice that we get from this verse is that Joseph said, find wise men. Now, it teaches us that we have to learn, understand, and have wisdom, as in the TJ tribe, so that the more you learn, you can have discernment and wisdom. So Joseph is saying, choose men who can be able to help you. Then Joseph was chosen to be the one who is leading the project. His job was to save 1/5 of the income of the whole country. So it's like 20% of the income. That 20% was saved for 7 years. After 7 years, the beginning of famine of the next 7 years, the whole country benefited from the savings that Joseph saved. Even other countries, they came to Egypt to buy food because Joseph stored a lot of food so that he can supply the whole world. And number 4, why do I invest? The Bible again says in Proverbs 13:22 that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So I thank God that, TJ taught us about opening a trust. Now I have a trust. And then the properties which I'm not owing, I'm shifting them to a trust. And then in my company that I opened, I'm going to make loans in that company. That's where the risk is. Start buying properties via my company. And the properties that I had under my name, I'm busy changing them. I don't want to own nothing, because I have learned that the rich own nothing but control everything. Lastly, why do I invest? In order to be able to give, to help, whether the community, whether the church, and there's joy out of that and satisfaction. The Bible says the kingdom of God is not eating and drinking, but righteousness, peace, and joy. If you are doing things right, you will have peace, and God will reward you with joy. Yeah, number 2, how do I invest? In the past, I thought that investment, for you to be an investor, you have to have money. But as TJ is teaching us, I slowly starting to, my mind is opening up that no, it's possible also even without money. And then the other day, I heard Jenna said, you can look for a deal, analyze it, do some calculations, and once you are satisfied, you have to be creative on how to get money. So, those words from Jenna, they are stuck in my mind, that when you get a property, just be creative on how to get money. Because, knowing my credit score, I knew that I wouldn't get funds from the bank. and it's going to be difficult. So I had to look for ways of how am I going to buy property. So I started going to, after Krugersdorp, that's where my father grew up. I know that place very well. And then I was neglecting the place for many years, but I went back there, I studied the place, I looked at the area, and then I told myself that because I'm not qualifying for these houses for 1 million, let me focus on this area. Then I started studying the area, and I even went to a town planner, Dumsani, who helped me to get a feasibility study of the area. And I paid 1.3 for that document to come out. And it helped me a lot because that's where I saw on the map that this is a tourism area, and the tourism area, the portion is it's very big. It's colored in purple, you know, on that study. And the rural area is also very big, meaning there are people working in the rural areas, in the farms. There are people also working in the tourism areas. There are lots of B&Bs, hotels. There are many places where people come there and relax. So people who are working there, there are many people who are working around the area, but they have a problem of accommodation. So I saw an opportunity, and I started seeing money. And you see money by your mind, you know, you see money by opportunities or helping, like closing the gap. You look at the gap, what's not there, then you start seeing opportunities. Then after that report, I started word of mouth, talking to people on the streets, my relatives, my friends there, and then guys help me to look for properties. If you hear anyone selling a property, some of them I would give them money to encourage them. Then one day my cousin called me and said, there's a lady who is selling a property. So we went to that lady. That lady said, yes, I'm going to sell, but I'm not ready. It's a diseased estate. So TJ taught us in the past that when you are a newbie, you must avoid development, student accommodation, diseased estates. So I avoided all those, but with this one, I couldn't avoid because, you know, the return on an investment was so good. When I make some calculations there, I could see that I can get up to 38% return on an investment. And some of the houses you can get up to 43% on an investment. You buy the house for 50,000, you get almost 5.5 as a rental because it's one house but with shacks outside. Now, because there's no accommodation, people are prepared to stay in those shacks and they are paying quite good of money, which is something like 800 rands a shack, 900 rands a shack. So one house can give you something like 5.5. So I was very happy. Then I started concentrating on those houses. So I've learned that if the opportunity isn't completely obvious, then it's not a great one. I don't want a house where I'm not sure whether it's profitable or not. I want something which is obvious, and it helps me as I'm starting my journey. So lastly, let me talk about this deal. I think I joined the TJ tribe by signing a contract last year, October. So after a month or two, that's when I got this property. And I went with the guy there. The guy, he's always following me. He likes learning from me. I'm teaching the guy. We're in the same church. So the guy, we went there. As we went there, we managed to sign the offer to purchase. And then as we came back to Pretoria, then I knew that the guy had money. So I asked him, "Bra, are you interested in investing with me? I'll give you 15% return." He said, yes. I said, "How much can you give me?" He said, "I can give you 80,000. I said, wow. I was so happy. Then I could see these things are possible. Then I looked for another investor. He gave me the closing costs, which is about 15,000. Then I closed the deal. I took that lady to Pretoria to meet with the lawyers. He signed everything. I took him to Wimpy. I said, choose whatever you want. I bought him meat, everything. I was so happy. And then we went back. I dropped her at home. And I didn't have a car. You know, we are using this guy's car. And the guy is paying for petrol. I'm not even spending for petrol. He's happy to learn from me because I'm with TJ. You see, connection. Yeah. So now, after the promise was in 90 days, I would give them their money back. So we signed a lending contract. The lawyer charged me something like 1.5, 2,000 to draft the contract so that it can protect both me and the investor. Even if something happens to me, my properties are in the business, he can claim towards my company. So it's an entity that does not die. So that's what I'm telling the investor. So they become trustworthy because they can see that I know what I'm talking about, even though I'm not seasoned yet, but some of the things at least I know. Then we signed the contract and they gave me the money. And now in 90 days, I started becoming creative because I looked for money from the banks. They declined me. Now what to do? Since they declined me, I checked in my credit card, I checked my overdraft. Then I even sold my primary home so that it can give me something because it was not benefiting me with anything. Then I moved to another place to hire a house. But now that new place that I got, where I'm going to hire that house, I'm going to also work from there as a fashion designer. And then the fashion designing business will pay for my rentals there. So I'm not losing anything by selling that house. But at least that money managed to help me to pay the investors back. I paid them back. But now what I'm going to do, as I have signed leases with the tenants, as they are paying in the bank, they are creating a record. Then later on, I'm gonna go back to the bank and show them the history so that I can refinance the house. I managed to get also another property in the same area. The person who was selling me the house, I didn't know it was not his house. It's a deceased estate, but he claimed to be the beneficiary. But as I did my due diligence, I found out that the person who has passed on has a child, the only child, and we don't know. I went to look for information in the area. I went to taverns, I went to many places, and then finally I got the lead. Then we called Rustenburg. Then I managed to speak to the child. He's about 22 years old now. She has grown. And we went there. I hired a transport. As we arrived there, they were shocked. I told the child that, you know, your father left a house. I want to buy that house. You don't know. So I'm telling you now, you have money. I can give you money now. So she was confused. She said, I must come back after a month so that she can talk to the family members. After a month, I took this guy, the initial guy who wanted to sell me that house. He's also a family of this one. Then we went there, we used taxis. We arrived at Zeerust about, I think, 4 o'clock. We didn't even have a place to sleep. We didn't know where we were going to sleep. But at least the family members, they met us and then we spoke. They were happy because the lady staying in a shack, even the toilet, there's no even a door on the toilet. You know, it was painful to see the condition of the lady. So the family members said, just sign the papers. I spoke with the lawyer to give me the papers, the original papers, so that when she agrees, we sign immediately. Not that one is not an offer to purchase. It's the real papers that goes to the masters of the High Court. Then the lady finally, she agreed. She signed the papers. And then I said, do you want something like a deposit? He said, no, give me 1,000 rand. I transferred it immediately. And then I said, the other money you'll get later. Then I went to Pretoria. The lawyer was happy. He sent the papers to court. Then we managed to get the letter of authority with the name of the child now, meaning moving from the deceased to the living, which is the only biological child. And it was a win, because when it's like that, it can now go to this office. So me and the lawyer, we decided, okay, let's pay this lady. Then we gave her 40,000 rands. That's our agreement for the house. But I have to pay for the municipality rates on the side, and then even the transfer costs. But at least we agreed, and then we gave her the money, and the deal is sealed.
So I think I just want to say here, for everyone else who's in the room, you can see for yourself how Andrew is being creative. You can see for yourself how Andrew is jumping into these deals and he's rolling up his sleeves. So I'm just listening to him, and over and above that, I'm saying to myself, what is it that I can learn here? So he's not scared to go through to different places. He's not scared to roll up his sleeves. He's not scared to do the work. And like I said earlier on with my example of the bottle, everybody needs financial freedom. But what about the work? And Andrew is just demonstrating this to us. And he doesn't leave any stone unturned to create his creativity, right? And that's what it's all about. And that's why we got to give him this award of within this season for being creative. So well done there, Andrew.